My life has been a lion, because I've been a lion for 71 years. So that covers most of my life.
I actually learnt about the Lions Club back in the 70s, and a colleague of mine, he was a member of Worksop in Nottinghamshire. So I knew of the Lions, but I had no idea what they did. And there's a movie, I think, with Marlon Brando called The Young Lions. So every time I saw Alan, I said, "Hey, here come, the Young Lions." Eventually came back to England, and a colleague of mine was in the Lions Club. And I thought, well, I'm in a new area. And so the real reason I joined Lions was to meet people. And I did. I was president within 5 years. And it was just great fun.
How I got involved in the Lions Club actually started with my husband, who passed away. He was a Lion for 20-something years, I'm sure. And we met Jim Starnes when we first moved to Greenville. And so my husband's name was Tim, and he and Jim immediately became great friends.
When I moved to Spartanburg in the 1970s, I needed to find a house. And so I contacted a realtor just at random in the phone book. He started showing me houses and said, would you like to go to lunch with me today? I'm a member of the Lions Club and I'd like to buy your lunch. And of course my question was, sure, but what's a lion? Which is a typical comment. We went to the club meeting and I was really impressed. It was a very large club, over 100 members in attendance, most of them in suits or coats and ties, business leaders in the community. The mayor was there, bankers were there, lawyers were there, and so being new to the community, I thought, this is something I'd like to be part of. And so I immediately joined, really not knowing what I was getting into.
I guess my first memory of the Lions Club would be going to the meetings with my dad. My dad was a Lion, and so he would let me go to the meetings once I got in elementary school, and just being involved in the candy days and different things that the Lions did back then was a good memory for me.
Martin Lewis joined the Lions Club. He joined our club, and when we moved a couple years after we moved here in 1980, I think he joined in 1981. So he just got his 40-year pin last year. When he joined, he was one of the youngest members of our club at age 38. And by the time he left, he was the second longest tenured Lion in our club. And we have a pretty large club here in Lake Wylie. We have, at one time last year, we had over 176 members.
My dad is friends with Jerry Hatley. He's a member of the Taylor's Club. And they kept pushing him to get a club started kind of in the upstate region, Blue Ridge area, I guess you would say. And so I think he was hesitant for a while, but eventually he finally decided it would be something good to start and kind of a legacy for him too in the area. So that was kind of how we got started. And then it wasn't long, I was kind of starting to come with him through some of the meetings to kind of help get the club started, because you have to have so many to become chartered. So at first it was just kind of I'm just going to go because my parents want me to go, try to help them out. But now it's kind of grown to more of a community service thing for me, where it's like, hey, I feel like we're really kind of doing some work with people who need help with not only just glasses. There's a lot of different causes that we work with, but it's been good for me to kind of feel like I'm giving back with time, funds, resources.
It occurs to me that I'm really a cradle Lion. When I was small, in my hometown of Newton, North Carolina, we would have the Community Day for Startown Community Day. There typically was a hamburger hot dog tent, and I got to help. Just like 5 or 6 years, probably helped more by staying out of the way, but my parents were involved in hot dog and hamburger sales all day long, and then in the evening there was a chicken dumpling supper. So when Jim and Edwin and I were talking, all of this past memory began to play back through my mind, and I realized the Lions Club, of which my dad had been a member, was a sponsor of Community Day, and I had never quite put that together. So it felt a little bit like full circle, that I was carrying on a tradition that was really with my family.
Back when I joined the Lions, we had 3 districts in South Carolina, divided equally, population-wise. And then we had, we grew so good back then, really grew the membership, so they decided, well, we got so many members, we need to make another district. So we had A, B, and C, so well, let's make D, and made another district. So took some from this district, some from this district, and made a D district. Well, I wound up in D district, so, and that was the district that I eventually served as district governor. So.
Jim Starnes was very influential on me coming into the Lions Club. He heard me speak several times over Berea, and he kept saying, you need to come, you need to be a district governor. You need to be a district governor. And I said, Jim, I don't know anything about being a district governor. And he said, you don't have to know. He said, we'll show you and we'll teach you. We'll be there every step of the way. And he was.
Jim Starnes was one of the most honest and caring people that I've ever met. He would give you the shirt off his back, plus some. He really didn't care as far as materialistic things in his life. I mean, he had, he had a beautiful home and, beautiful family, 4 children, lovely wife, and all that. But if there was a need, Jim was there. And there were many needs while he served in the Lions Club that were fulfilled because of him and his outreach and just being able to pull everybody together in the blink of an eye sometimes.
The first meeting that I went to as the district governor's wife, we were not very welcomed. They met in a restaurant, and they didn't want us back there to sit with them. We sat out in the lobby. And so we sort of we weren't made to be very happy to be there. But it's changed an awful lot now. And I think they know how much the Lions Club needs us ladies in there.
It's almost turned completely around because the Lions Club now in Union is made up of more women than men.
When I became a Lion, I was the first woman to be in the club, but I had a lot of friends. So I was able to share what I was doing with them, and they were interested, so they came into the Lions Club too.
In 1987, I was outgoing district governor. You go in one year and you go out the next year. So I went in as governor in New Orleans in 1986. She was expecting a baby, our first child, so she was not able to go because she was 8.5 months pregnant. So I said, well, don't worry about it. You can go with me when I go out of office. And so it was Taipei, Taiwan. That didn't sound quite as appealing as New Orleans, Louisiana. But anyway, so much for that. It was on the ballot to allow women to be Lions members. And so I was happy to go in there, and I call it pulling the lever to say, yes, I want to see women become Lions members.
My primary goal with starting the Columbia Northwest Lions Club was to address diversity and women in Lions, because I know historically it's been all male. And I think in the last maybe 30, 35 years, women were allowed to be lioness, and more recently to convert to lions. So I wanted to do that. And in my neighborhood where I live, it's primarily a African American community. And I wanted to introduce Lionism to a more diverse population. And so I took it from there. And then I decided that we needed some veterans represented in Lions in South Carolina, because we did not have a Veterans Lions Club in South Carolina. So I started the Columbia Veterans Lions Club as well.
Before I was a Lion, I was a Mason. I'm still a Mason, but I was active in Masons. But Masons help other Masons out and help the widows and orphans of Masons. I was introduced to the Lions Club by my father. When he got unable to drive, he had me drive him to the Lions Club, and I ended up joining. Lions help everyone. They don't help just themselves or people like themselves. They help everyone. And it has changed my life and my way of thinking. And we just are so thankful we're on the earth to help other people.
You look around, it makes you more cognizant of other folks and their way of living and some of the things that they may need. And then you look at yourself and you say, well, can I help, you know? And so, you know, many times that's the way the projects start that we work on, basically, the needs. And then we say, you know, well, we can help and this is what we can do. And most recently, the can drive that we had for the, District Governor Jim Barbary, you know, promoted us to the Yes We Can to try to get, you know, food for our food pantry. It was like a little spark that just lit into a big fire. I think his goal was to have 4 pounds per club member, and we have, how many club members do we have?
35.
35. And it got to be that the cans were gathered and the food bought, and it turned out to be about 24 pounds per member. And so 850 plus pounds of food that were donated to the food pantry. That's sorely, with all the things going on in every community, it's the same, you know, hurting, not having the things that you need. So that was one recent thing, and that's just typical of the things that we do, you know.
And just recently, you know, you may not be aware, but we had a terrible tornado over in Seneca back April, year ago now, past April, a year ago. And it just destroyed so much of our city and everything. And of course, we have a large food bank there that serves a lot of people. Well, it so happened that they didn't have, our power went out. I mean, the whole city just wiped out the whole structure, the power lines and everything, just tore them up. And so they were in a fix. They had refrigerated freezers in the food bank. They couldn't, they had to get trucks, refrigerated trucks, get the stuff in there to keep it from spoiling, et cetera, et cetera. And so when all was said and done, our Lions Club I talked about it, said, well, you know, they need a backup power for that thing. So I said to our president, I said, why don't we look into this, get a grant from the Lions International Foundation and see if we can't help them get that generator. Lo and behold, we did. We put in for the grant, got the generator, it's sitting in place now. Power goes again, we got plenty cooling. So
when we were getting started and thinking about what we could do for eye testing or screening, we had a eye doctor in the club, and there have been for some time some spot cameras that you can use for like checking children at schools, and you can do it quickly with no contact. But he thought that we needed to have something that was more for older people, and that glaucoma is something that goes unnoticed in a lot of people until it's too late. So we were able to get part of a grant to buy for half the cost of the machine, and then our club came up with the balance, and we were able to get one.
One fellow stopped me one day, and he handed me a $10 or $20 bill. He said, when we were young, we were poor as a church mouse, and the Lions bought glasses for my family. I remember that in our life. And I heard similar statements. I heard it all my life. The Lions did this, the Lions did that. So it makes you proud. And you get feedback. The same way with some of the things that we do now. People respond with a letter of thanks. And this, this indicates what people think. And some of them kind of open your eyes when sometimes we think too little of what we're doing. Even to us, it's a small, we think insignificant, but it has significance because that person remembers and that person knows what was done.
When we identify stigmatisms and other problems in the eyes with the vision screeners, we are preventing preventable blindness. And the spot camera is programmed to help 6-month-old to 6-year-olds. That was what it was originally designed for. So if we can touch those lives, we will change their course of life. And we know that because there are Lions that I know that say that when they were 6 years old, it was found that they didn't have any vision, or they had vision problems, and it changed their lives completely.
Yeah, so I was just kind of a standard member for the first few years, and then I was membership chair, so I worked on that. And then I've been going to the board meetings lately. My wife, she is dealing with finances there too, so we go to most of the board meetings now. And I think next year I'll be second vice president, I believe it is. So kind of like moving through the organization, I guess you would say, as far as that goes with officers. She kind of got in with me, and I guess one of the draws for her is her dad is legally blind. I think he's 80% in one eye and about 50% in the other eye. So his is a little different how he got there, but it's still knowing you have somebody in your family, your dad, that has issues with sight, and that's kind of one of the key focuses for the Lions Club, is helping improve sight. And they're actually working on some stuff too, with some goggles that you can put on to help people that can't see very well see clearly again. So he doesn't have that, obviously, but it's just kind of coming out now. But I think that's kind of been a big draw for her. So it's kind of near and dear to her heart, I guess. I would say, yeah, definitely because of me, but then also it's her dad being in his situation helps.
Spartanburg Lions Club, which will be celebrating its 100th anniversary in May of 2022, has had a yearly relationship with the South Carolina School for the Deaf and Blind for over 70 years straight. We have done so many things with this school. For example, just recently we wrote a grant to Lions Club's International Foundation, raised over $100,000 to build a new recreational instructional area outside, which was dedicated in 2013, I believe, by the president of Lions Clubs International. That area was to replace an area that we had built 30 years before that. So this relationship with the school has continued year after year after year. We've done grounds work. We've gone out and helped put mulch around trees. We've had different meetings there, and they've been very cordial to us. And each year at Christmas, other than COVID, we go there and they have fried chicken for our meal. And it's at that meeting that our club names the next Lion of the Year. So that relationship is a strong relationship. Currently, the Director of Development, the Assistant Director, and the President are all members of our Lions Club.
The Anderson Lions Club and several other clubs in the state are celebrating 100 years. We didn't get here by not trying, by not doing. We didn't get here because it makes us look good. We got here because God wanted us to do this, and He wanted us to help other people. And He gives us a blessing for doing that. I would like to see other people, young people, with the same idea.
From a construction standpoint, from helping people get eyeglasses, from helping people get eye surgery, that is very satisfying and gratifying, and that has impacted my life. I have always been, I think, tempted to be a generous person and have a deep concern for the welfare of others. So the Lions Club is just a perfect match.
Being a Lion allows me to make a contribution even though I can't stop in the middle of my day and go to a certain place to do a certain thing. But by the club's activities, the fundraising, the programs that are here in our state but are also international, I am really getting to help. Even though I feel like I'm too busy or it's not the right time, I'm still a part of a huge movement that is helping people all over the planet.
The Lions Club impacted my life because it gave me an opportunity to serve, and I see if I have a problem, I know there's people who have worse problems than I do. And so I just like to help those people get on their feet.
For many years, I have been searching for something that I could do that would have an impact on people. And I've been in a lot of organizations. I've been in sororities and the veterans organizations and others, looking for my fit. Where did I fit in? And I have yet to find that until I became a Lion.
If you do it willingly, you're going to get satisfaction out of it. And I think that's the greatest part of it. You know, that you don't have to have anyone tell you, you've helped someone. And we are often told how much help we are to someone, people. And it's kind of interesting.
I've been impacted by being in the Lions Club, by maybe being a more well-rounded person, getting to know other Lions and people. When you're out working side by side on a project like selling brooms or working in the concession stand at Greer High football games like we do, you get to know other people that you would never have gotten to know, and some really fine people. And just getting to see that the Lions Club does make a difference in the community.
And it's surprising when people realize you're a Lion, will tell you, you bought me my first pair of glasses. And so that, at a county council meeting one night, I was talking about Lions Club to county council, and not one but two men came up to me after the meeting, and these were adults that said, thank you, you gave me my first pair of glasses. And so that's a nice warm fuzzy.
The Lions Club has impacted my life in several ways. One thing is it showed me that there's a need in the community for lions, and we serve the community. It's impacted my personal life with my wife, because after I've been in it for about 9 years, I finally convinced her to come into the Lions Club, and she traveled with me everywhere I went when I was district governor. took part in all the things that went on in our visits, and just made us happy. I think happier. I love the Lions Club, and I love being a part of it.
Being a lion, a lioness, and a lion, it gives me an outlet for that piece of my heart that really wants to do for other people. And I'm not a real outgoing person. I don't go to parties. When I do, I kind of sit in the edge. So it's much easier for me to be doing for others and get to know people that way than it is to be able to go out and say, sit at a bar, you know. So, and it feels good. It just feels good.
It has made me more aware of the need for people's vision to be brought to their attention, and maybe our club being helpful to them if they're not able to afford those services. We can either provide them help through our club or refer them to Greer Relief to see if that may be an avenue that can help them. And those are things that I was not really aware of until I became a part of this Lions Club.
It's amazing, I'm trying not to use the word power, but the influence that we can have on people. And you know, almost you put a badge on or a vest that says Lions and you become somebody different. You know, perhaps more compassionate, but yeah.
Looking ahead, having realized that we are now over 100 years old, where do we go from here? That's a lot to think about. We know, for example, that we have to recruit people to replace us as we age out, which is a natural process. It's work. Lion Hope McMarbury is a shining example of people who have taken that proverbial bull by the horns and tried some different approaches. What we want to overcome is this idea among us seniors that we've never done it that way, or we tried it before and it didn't work.
We realize that we need youth. And according to me, youth covers a lot of years. but you need new ideas. Somebody to urge you to do something. Realizing in our club, we're old, and that's our problem. We have not taken advantage of the younger people. We want to make them conform to what we like, rather than doing what they prefer.
When I first became district governor and council chair, I had no idea that I would be serving as the youngest in South Carolina. But just to know that people thought enough of me, even at a younger age, to take on that responsibility was very humbling. And I think I tried to do it well and tried to make it to where hopefully more younger people will want to take a more active role in the leadership in our districts and in our state as we move forward. Because that's one of the areas that we need to really work on in our state, is to get younger people and then allowing them to step out and to become leaders, because it's rewarding, not monetarily because it's volunteer, but it's rewarding to the heart.
Really enjoy the Lions Club. If there's anything about Martin, he was never a shy man. He never met a stranger, and if he taught me anything, you know, it's probably the new people coming in. When you see new people, don't be afraid to go up and talk to them. If they're sitting by themselves at the breakfast table or dinner, you know, go up and say hi, introduce yourself. Try to get them to know the new members. I think Martin probably knew more people's name than anybody else in the club, because he always made that effort, and I think that's important going forward.
When we get somebody to join, make sure they buy into our program. They get involved and they enjoy it. Because if they just join and pay dues and never show up or never participate, then you probably have not accomplished what we need to be accomplishing.
If you read the literature from Lions International and you read what a sponsor is, that's what our job is to make sure that that person is welcomed and also that they are involved and that they get involved or they will fall away. It's as simple as that.
You know, I think Lions Club has come a long way in 100 years since Helen Keller gave her speech. I think Lions International has found out that there are so many diseases like, you know, diabetes and measles and, you know, some of the other diseases that really involve sight. I think we've come a long way in being able to help people. Now I think our role may be education and trying to get out to the parents and to look for the, not just the vision things, but, you know, for the things that COVID is a great example, you know. So I just want to see it go on.
My hope for the Lions in South Carolina in the next 100 years is to return to our motto, we serve. Because somewhere along the line, I think we got lost and became more focused on fundraising than service to the community. And that needs to, I personally think that needs to return. We need to figure out how to serve the community, not just with a check or with money, but with our hands and our hearts.
Well, we hope we can continue to do good work.
Yes.
That's our main objective, isn't it, Mary Lou?
That's exactly right. And we've got a really good club.
We've got a wonderful club. Our secretary, treasurer, they just keep the club going. Our president works hard to keep the club going too. And all the other members just do their share.
What we need to be trying to do is to get more people involved in the programs we have. I mean, it's fantastic that we're celebrating 100 years in South Carolina with 5 Lions clubs that started their service 100 years ago, those 5 clubs. So it's something that's there, this history. And it's I don't know exactly how to put the words, but it's an opportunity that I'm glad I didn't pass on it.
I'm always a Lion wherever I go, whatever I do. I'm talking to people about it. I go to a lot of schools and talk to coaches, and I educate them to the fact that we can help them get glasses for their children if they need them. So it's just an all-the-time thing.
I wouldn't have it any other way because of being involved in the community in the Lions Club and the chance to do a lot for the community was so great.
I look forward to seeing how in the next 100 years our members go with the flow and continue to work to keep up with the times. We use so much technology now that was not even imaginable for our club members 75, 100 years ago. And it just goes to show the spirit of the Lions, their willingness to change with the times to meet the need. And we're an old-fashioned, kind of stable, good moral foundation kind of club, but there's this progressiveness that also enables us to keep serving. And now that I've seen the leadership here in the state of South Carolina presently, I have no doubt that the clubs will continue to adjust as needed and do whatever it takes to be able to explore new opportunities to serve and to cast their net wider and wider in ways that we can help the people here in South Carolina.